Story 1. I have been in love with the idea of a red Dodge Viper since I was about 8 years old. I still want it to this day. Story 2. More for nostalgia purposes. I would really like a Geoprism. My grandmother had one when I was a kid. I have a lot of great memories in that car. I would love to have one. Story 3. Mercedes Sprinter with the long base. I have been dreaming of converting it into a tricked-out camper and storm-chasing van so I do not have to get a hotel room when I chase. Story 4. I can't pick just one. I have many dream cars I would like to own in my lifetime. It is a passion. Story 5. Carmen Ghia, half as fast as a Porsche but twice as good-looking. My dad had one but had to sell it when I was young. Story 6. A 1971 Plymouth GTX. There is one for sale in my general area. It needs a full restoration, but the seller wants $22,000 for it. Story 7. Lotus Exige Sport. I have wanted one since they were released. They are common in the United Kingdom but difficult to find in the United States. Importing one to California is too complicated. Story 8. 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California Spider. The car featured in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I used to live near a Ferrari dealership and they had a black one on display for a long time. I loved looking at that one, but if money were no object, the original red. Side note. Still one of the best movies of all time. Story 9. 1991 Volkswagen Jetta. My mother had one when she met my father. It was lowered on 5-point rims and dark pearlescent purple. I honestly wish I had the money to build one for my mother. Hopefully I can one day. Story 10. Classic. 1972 de Tomaso Pantera. Recent. 2009 Spyker C8 Spider. Current. 2024 Pagani Imola Roadster. Story 11. My grandparents had a Dodge Omni, and I always wanted one, but that was 30 years ago. I am pretty sure they do not make them anymore. Story 12. Fully restored 1980 Toyota 4x4 with a 2-inch factory lift, factory-installed tubular bumpers, and light roll bar. Yellow. Story 13. I would be perfectly fine with a Bugatti Chiron and some late-night driving space on the Autobahn. More affordable would be a 2009 to 2010 Chevrolet Camaro. I totally adore the styling of it. Story 14. 1971 Plymouth Hemi Barracuda convertible. It will never happen since only around 9 are known to still exist, and they easily draw 7 figures at auction. Story 15. E-Type. It does not even need to have the original engine. I would be fine with swapping in something more reliable. It is just such a beautiful looking car that I would love to own one. Story 16. Legally Blind will probably never drive. I would love to have a 1981 DeLorean DMC-12. It is like what the Cybertruck wanted to be. Story 17. This is going to sound extremely stupid, but I am nuts about the Opel Astra G Coupe. I am dead serious. I am planning to save up money for it, and it would mean everything if I managed to save enough for one. Yes, my friends do think there is something wrong with me. Honorable mention. Opel Calibra. It is just straight up awesome. Opel Zafira, my dad already has one, so it is kind of redundant, but if I end up being a little more adventurous later in life, you cannot get a better car for long road trips and maybe even sleeping in it. Tesla Model 3 fast, cheap for its class, but still too expensive for me. Reliable, free parking in my city because it is an electric vehicle but extremely boring, and I am not a fan of the fact that Elon Musk is in charge of the company. Smart for 2 electric vehicle, cute, affordable, free parking, but it has limited range and I would not be able to give my friends a lift because of the limited space. Story 18. A Chevrolet SSR. I get so much criticism for liking that car, but I love it. My parents got me a model SSR for Christmas one year when I was a kid, and I have loved the car ever since. Story 19. 2019 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 or a 2003 Chevrolet Corvette Z06. Never going to happen, but I have always had an affinity for Corvettes that made European supercar drivers nervous. Story 20. I would love to have a 1999 or 2000 Honda Civic C that rolled right off the showroom floor. I just love how the coupe looks. Parts are still plentiful and they are not too hard to work on. Story 21. One in which I can drive for more than 30 minutes without my knees hurting. I am not very tall, 5 feet 11 inches, but I have longer legs and drive a 2015 Toyota Corolla, which is very good. However, my knees hurt after driving it for some time. Story 22. Lamborghini Urus. But I do not know about paying $1,000 for oil changes. I will keep it at Acura MDX. Story 23. 1972 Cadillac Eldorado convertible sky blue with white interior and white top. 4-speed automatic transmission and an 8-track player. Story 24. 1992 Jeep Wrangler YJ Sahara. The Jurassic Park Jeep. Of course, I would deck it out in the Jurassic Park paint and decal job. Story 25. Volvo 262C. My school bus drove by one abandoned in a field back when I was in high school. I have wanted one ever since. Story 26. I was in high school when the Pontiac Vibe and Pontiac Aztek were new releases, and I thought they seemed like really cool cars. I was sold on the gimmicks. A built-in power plug in the Vibe and a built-in tent for the Aztek. I also liked their blocky appearance. Nowadays, I love my Subaru Forester. If I could give it a more powerful engine or make it an electric vehicle hybrid, I would go that route for a dream car. Oh, and I would replace their interface with Android Auto. My Forester is new enough for Bluetooth, but not new enough for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. The ID Buzz looks like a fun dream car, too, but the range is pretty low and I don't have a large enough group of friends and family to drive around regularly enough to justify it. My dream car version of the ID Buzz would also have regular buttons, not the capacitive controls that are common in every electric vehicle. Story 27. 6-inch lifted Ford F450 with large mud tires, decorative truck accessories, and loud exhaust pipes, designed to annoy others and provoke complaints. Story 28. 1990 Ford Mustang GT hatchback Fox body. Easy question for me. It was my first car. I bought it 2 weeks before my 16th birthday and had to sell it when I turned 25. I found out I was having my first son and had to become a dad and buy diapers instead of parts. My son just turned 14 last month. Story 29. 2026 Honda Passport Trail Sport Elite Blackout Edition. It is about $52,000, and I love how it looks along with the premium extra features. Story 30. Lexus LS 600 HL. I know it is an old man car, but I still really want one. Story 31. A car that I want but I cannot buy because nobody really needs it, but it is so beautiful. Every time I see one, I feel like just taking that vehicle and driving it as long as I can and taking pictures with it. The Volkswagen van. I like the new electric ID Buzz too, but it is electric, so I cannot just take it wherever I want. Story 32. A Ford Mustang GT, especially in bright orange. I am studying to be a mechanical engineer, which has a great starting salary. I will be fully qualified in a year's time at 25, so I hope to have one in about 6 to 10 years. Story 33. Realistically speaking, a Subaru WRX Subaru Technica International, late 1990s or early 2000s model, or a trophy truck that is still street legal. If the sky is the limit, however, McLaren F1. Story 34. Something that drives life, a go-kart. I'm not sure if that's going to be a Mazda Miata, a Chevrolet Corvette, or something else. Something cheap to maintain that I can have fun driving hard. I used to have a newer Subaru WRX that was awesome, but it was so expensive I was worried about wear and damage. I want the opposite of that. Something beat up. Something with dents. Story 35. 1988 Callaway Corvette Sledgehammer. I cannot exactly explain why, other than I think it looks very cool. It reminds me of the Knight Rider Pursuit mode. If money were no option, a blue Superbird. Story 36. I want an Alfa Romeo Disco Volante, maybe the Spider version. Story 37. A performance luxury wagon. Not many of them around. Some are not even available in the United States. But I will probably never have one. I do not take care of things. The best option I have would be to lease one for a few years. Mini Truck Rad Rot Tuna. Late 1990s to early 2000s. Extended cab. Toyota, Nissan, Mitsubishi, or others in that category. Whichever one has the most crossover with their tuner car cousins. Like a mix between a work truck and a tuner. It has patina, and I do not care if it gets a door ding. But it also has a turbo and a sequential transmission. If I lived in your neighborhood, you would dislike me because I drove that loud truck. Story 38. I have a 2009 Mercedes E550 that I bought in 2019 with low miles for 1/6 of the original window sticker price. It is great looking, powerful, and very comfortable. I love that car. At age 79, it may be my last car. Story 39. Lamborghini Huracan. I got to drive one around a racetrack for my 21st birthday, and it was everything I had hoped for and more. Story 40. My 1966 Gran Turismo Omologado convertible was wrecked by my ex-wife in 1974. I had fully restored it before the accident. Nothing compares. Story 41. Rolls-Royce Phantom Coupe. Not that I wish to have one, but if I had a chance to have a dream car, that would be it. Story 42. Porsche 911 GT3 RS with a Valvetronic exhaust. They are very expensive, but I would love to have one for a day. Story 43. Honda Civic Type R. When I had my C, that was what I wanted to trade it in for, but they are way too expensive. I ended up getting a Subaru WRX instead. Story 44. My dad's 1932 Plymouth Coupe. Unfortunately, he died before he could finish restoring it, and I didn't have any place to store it after he passed. Eventually, my stepmom sold it to his partner, who he restored cars with, but he had health problems of his own and never got around to it. It was finally sold to someone in their car club. I really would have liked to see it finished. We also had a kiddie car with a molded fiberglass body shaped like a 1958 Plymouth Fury, the same as Christine. We had planned to paint it the same color as the coupe so, as kids, it could be our entry at car shows. Unfortunately, life just gets in the way sometimes. Story 45. Aston Martin Vanquish. The price is not the only issue, though. I am definitely too large to fit in one now, and even with substantial weight loss, I may be too tall to ever fit in one. I am 6 feet 3 inches tall, with most of that height in my torso and head. Story 46. Dream car and the dream car I wish to have one day are different. Dream car. 1964 DB5 Aston Martin. Car I wish to have one day. Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Story 47. Toyota 4Runner is too expensive and the gas costs are unaffordable. The Subaru Outback Hybrid does not exist yet, but will eventually be released. The Ford Lightning truck is also too expensive. One day. Story 48. My dad's wish was always a 1969 Ford Mustang, preferably light blue, with the big V8 engine. These cars are very expensive in Scandinavia because our green environmental tax system makes it nearly impossible for an average person to afford one. I have been secretly saving for years to make his dream come true, but he is getting old. Story 49. 1963 split-window Chevrolet Corvette Restomod. I would probably try to get the body lowered onto the frame of a 2018 Chevrolet Corvette. Talk about my dream car. It would be perfect. Story 50. 1968 El Camino SS Orange Glitter with black and white racing stripes, a slight lift with large wheels, and an electric vehicle conversion. Story 51. 1950 Chevrolet Stepside slammed to the ground with a 350 engine, supercharger, and Dayton 100 spoke wheels with thin white wall Vogue tires. Story 52. Nothing. I don't want to drive. I bought a gravel bicycle and a folding bicycle, and they work wonders. The amount of money I save is ridiculous. Story 53. Porsche 911 GT4. Customized to perfection. I am not a car expert, but they are very attractive. There are over 400 shades of green to choose from, so it would be a hard choice. Story 54. Maybe Lamborghini Countach, the new version. The old version is very attractive but horrible. I bid on the one from The Wolf of Wall Street but went over my price limit since it was art and not a working car, nor ever expected to be one again. Story 55. As a Xennial, I would love a stable of 1990s Ford performance vehicles. 1993 Mustang GT, 1995 Probe GT, 1996 Escort GT, 1995 and 1996 Taurus Super High Output, 1993 Thunderbird Super Coupe, 1993 and 1999 Special Vehicle Team Lightning, 1998 Special Vehicle Team Contour, 1993 Cobra, 1995 Cobra R, 2000 Cobra R, and 2002 Focus Special Vehicle Team for good measure. Story 56. The new BMW Speedtop, which is no longer a concept and will be produced, and a Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren. Story 57. 2002 RX-7 FD Spirit R. That car is a remarkable beauty, a true work of art. It features fun spinning rotors. Story 58. I had my dream cars. The Subaru WRX, which I hated after 9 months. The Toyota 4Runner, but I was going broke on gas when prices were skyrocketing because it had a V8 engine. It required filling up twice a week, and the tank was huge. Now I am driving my Toyota Tacoma. I have more money available and less driving, so it will be with me for the long haul. I wanted a truck as well as an SUV after my Chevrolet Camaro phase when I was 16. Story 59. A little red Corvette or maybe a pink Cadillac or lowrider. Doesn't matter as long as it is a fast car, and I am blasting the cars. Because, life is a highway and I want to ride it all night long. Story 60. An Aussie Blue 1969 Porsche 912 5-speed coupe with a Benton twin-plug engine, suspension upgrades, aftermarket Recaro seats, Bluetooth receiver, and a bike rack. Perfection. Story 61. Even though they are all considered lemons, I would have to choose either a Gremlin, a DeLorean, or an Edsel, as I just love the look of them. Story 62. I used to love the Porsche 911 Carrera when I was a kid. Then I grew to be 6 feet 7 inches tall, and that is no longer a possibility. So now it is either a Ford F-250 or F-350 with dual rear wheels. Story 63. Lotus 79. Story 64. A fully equipped off-road overland SUV. The kind of vehicle you see and just think, damn, that could survive the zombie apocalypse. I personally love a Toyota 4Runner, as I am a huge fan of Toyota, though the new 2025 Toyota Land Cruiser looks impressive and I would love to see one with some aftermarket parts. The Land Rover Defender is another vehicle with a similar style, though it would benefit from some aftermarket parts. The great thing is I already have a 2022 V6 Toyota 4Runner. I just haven't added any aftermarket parts yet. So I am, thankfully, already driving my dream car. My brother doesn't believe me, as he prefers fast cars or old and rare expensive vehicles. He can't comprehend why I want something so different. Story 65. BMW M3 E46. I think it is one of the most beautiful M3 models ever. I doubt I will get one when I retire if any are still around, but as a teenager and into my early 20s, this was always my dream car. Story 66. 1990s Nissan Pathfinder. The 2030s Pathfinder will suffice since they will have recovered from Carlos Ghosn by then. Story 67. Chevrolet 1987 V20 pickup with this exact appearance but with a modern drivetrain. It features a 6.6-liter L8T engine, NV 4500 transmission, and a 14-bolt rear axle. Story 68. I would rather have it for more than one day. However, if it were only for one day, I would choose an Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Story 69. I've always wanted to have a 1998 Mazda RX-7, but my true dream car is already in my garage waiting for some love. It's our 1978 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 that my dad has had since he was 18. Unfortunately, it has not been driven in many years, and it hurts me a lot. I have wanted to fix it up and drive it ever since I was about 5. To this day, it has been my dream to get her running and enjoy it just as much as my dad did for so many years. Story 70. I am not very interested in cars, but if I were to choose one, it would be a large vehicle that can fit the whole family or many friends for road trips and similar activities. Story 71. I have 3 cars that I cannot choose between. The first is a 1970 Plymouth Cuda, the second is a 1968 Dodge Charger, and the third is a 1997 to 1999 Dodge Viper GTS. Story 72. Alfa Romeo Spider version 2.0. I saw it at someone's wedding in Italy and fell in love with the car. I have no interest in cars in general, nor do I know how to drive even though I have a permit. That car just looks so beautiful. Story 73. Subaru Forester Subaru Technica International in World Rally Blue. I would settle for a 2007 or 2008 Forester XT 5-speed manual in perfect condition, though. Story 74. 1999 Nissan Skyline GTR 34. Already got my Subaru WRX Subaru Technica International. Maybe add a doomsday-prepared Toyota Land Cruiser to the mix. Story 75. For some reason, I have always wanted one of those old-school boxy Mercedes sport utility vehicles, the ones that look like a Range Rover. They seem equally suited to an off-road safari as they would be for arriving at a red carpet event. I appreciate that kind of versatility, to be honest. Story 76. Restomodded 1949 to 1951 Mercury Coupe. Chopped, channeled, and bagged with manual transmission and a Coyote engine. Alternatively, a rugged 1930s-based rat rod with large rear tires. Story 77. As a child, I wanted a Dodge Viper, blue with a white stripe down the middle. As an adult, I prefer something reliable that I can drive extensively with minimal maintenance costs. Story 78. 2014 Chevrolet Camaro. Yellow. I know it is not rare, super flashy, or expensive, but it is my favorite, and I do not think I will ever get one at this rate. Story 79. Dodge Monaco 1974 4-door. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.